What would you do if the world you were promised was slipping away? Imagine waking up each morning, feeling the weight of uncertainty pressing down before your feet even hit the floor. The future you worked for, the stability you counted on, now seems to be fading into the background, replaced by a constant sense of unease. You followed the rules, school, job, hard work, yet you're falling behind. You did everything you were told would lead to success, but the finish line keeps moving. The harder you push, the more it feels like you're running in place, watching opportunities slip through your fingers. For millions of Americans, this is the reality of 2025. It's not just a story on the news, it's the lived experience of families in every city, suburb, and small town. The struggle is everywhere, woven into the fabric of daily life, affecting people from all walks of life. The collapse isn't loud, it's in grocery aisles, at kitchen tables, in the quiet after the kids are asleep. It's in the empty shelves where your favorite foods used to be, in the hushed conversations about how to stretch the next paycheck, in the silent worries that keep parents awake at night. The American dream, prosperity through perseverance, feels like it's being dismantled, replaced by anxiety and confusion. The promise that hard work would bring security and comfort is now overshadowed by doubts and fears about what tomorrow will bring. This isn't a classic recession. It's a slow erosion of the middle class, a crisis of affordability that turns daily life into a struggle. Every trip to the grocery store, every stop at the gas station, every bill that arrives in the mail is a reminder that the ground is shifting beneath our feet. The numbers, rising inflation, steady interest rates, soaring costs, only hint at the real story. Behind every statistic is a family making impossible choices, a parent skipping meals so their child can eat, a young person putting dreams on hold. The truth is in the frantic math before buying milk, the dread of a utility bill, the choice between fixing the car or paying for a child's medication. It's in the sacrifices made quietly, the plans postponed, the hopes deferred for another day. This crisis whispers in quiet shame and mounting fear, stretching the fabric of society to its breaking point. It's the silent burden carried by millions, rarely spoken but deeply felt, as communities try to hold together under growing strain. It's not about statistics or theories, it's about the human cost, the stories of neighbors, colleagues, and families who did everything right, only to watch the finish line move further away. It's about the bonds that are tested, the resilience that's required, and the hope that somehow things will get better. What happens when the belief that hard work leads to a better life crumbles? We're finding out right now. In the quiet moments and the daily struggles, a new story is being written, one of endurance, uncertainty, and the search for answers in a world that feels less certain than ever before. The American grocery store, once a symbol of abundance and prosperity, is now a battleground for everyday survival. What was once a place where families could fill their carts with confidence has become a site of anxiety and uncertainty. For many, it's a place of sticker shock and tough choices, milk, eggs, fruit, and suddenly, the total is staggering. Each trip down the aisle is a reminder that the basics are no longer guaranteed, and every item placed in the cart is weighed against what must be left behind. A small pack of bacon, $16, milk, over $3.50. These prices aren't just numbers, they're barriers, forcing families to rethink what's possible for their tables. A week's groceries for a family can top nearly $700. For many, that's more than a car payment or even a month's rent, spent just to keep the fridge from going empty. This isn't about luxury, it's about survival. The question isn't what treats to buy, but whether there's enough for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. One mother, supporting 3 generations, spent nearly $500 in a week, visiting 4 stores and filling her cart with processed food just to keep everyone fed. She's not alone. Families everywhere are forced to make impossible choices, trading nutrition for calories and time for savings. Nutrition is sacrificed for affordability. The act of providing a meal is now a demoralizing puzzle. Fresh produce is often replaced by cheaper, processed alternatives, and the guilt of not being able to offer healthier options weighs heavily on parents and caregivers. The psychological toll is immense. Anxiety builds with every beep of the scanner, and the fear of not having enough is a constant companion. Public humiliation at the checkout is common, declined cards, empty wallets, and the shame that follows. The fear of being unable to pay, of having to put items back while others watch is a reality for millions. The grocery store has become a stage for private despair where financial stability is on public display. Every transaction is a test and every checkout line is a gauntlet. $89 for 6 household items, a price that would have seemed unthinkable just a few years ago. $30 for coffee and sauce. These aren't rare stories, but snapshots of a nationwide crisis. Across the country, families are sharing similar tales of shock and frustration. When the cost of basics devours paychecks, there's nothing left for emergencies or savings. The margin for error disappears, and the future feels more uncertain than ever. The daily gauntlet of the grocery store is a stark reminder. For millions, the ground beneath their feet is no longer solid. Each trip is a test of endurance, and hope is harder to find. Survival, not comfort, is the new normal. In today's America, the simple act of putting food on the table has become a battle, one that millions are fighting every single day. Home should be a sanctuary, but for many, it's become a source of dread. Utility bills are skyrocketing. $466 for a tiny apartment, nearly $300 for a car battery, tires doubling in price. These aren't luxuries. They're the costs of simply living and working. One unexpected bill can derail a family's budget for months. The stress is corrosive, forcing impossible choices: comfort or health, repairs or rent. The home is no longer a castle but a cage, where every switch and key comes with a price tag that feels impossible. The security that home once promised is eroding, replaced by the constant fear of the next bill. The American contract, work hard, play by the rules, and you'll prosper, is broken. People with good jobs, no kids, and careful budgets still live paycheck to paycheck, unable to save or get ahead. One unexpected expense wipes out months of effort, forcing families to start over. This isn't about laziness or poor planning, it's about an economy where the cost of living devours every dollar. The idea of getting ahead has been replaced by the desperate struggle not to fall behind. The psychological toll is profound: futility, disillusionment, and the collapse of the belief that hard work pays off. For many, doing everything right leads only to disappointment. For many young Americans, the path to a better life starts with a debt sentence. Before they even begin their careers, they're already burdened with a weight that will follow them for years, sometimes decades. The dream of upward mobility is now tangled with anxiety as the cost of education continues to soar. Higher education, once a ticket to the middle class, now means staggering loans and decades of payments. The cap and gown mark not just achievement, but the beginning of a long financial journey. For many, the celebration is shadowed by the knowledge that their first job's paycheck is already spoken for. One physician assistant with $160,000 in student loans has paid $20,000 in 14 months, yet her balance has grown. Despite working long hours in a demanding field, she watches her debt balloon, feeling trapped by a system that seems impossible to escape. Interest outpaces payments, and the only hope is a complex forgiveness program with no guarantees. Navigating the maze of paperwork and requirements is a full-time job in itself, and many fear that the rules could change at any moment, leaving them stranded. This is the cruel math of modern student debt, a trap that shapes every life decision: marriage, children, home ownership. Couples delay starting families, and young professionals put off buying homes, all because of monthly payments that never seem to shrink. The promise of education as an investment has become a mortgage on dreams, with no house to show for it. Instead of building wealth, graduates are stuck paying interest, watching opportunities slip away. Millions are shackled by debt, punished for trying to do the right thing. They sought knowledge and a better future, but instead found themselves fighting just to stay afloat, joining a growing movement demanding change. It's a sentence that never seems to end. Each month, the deadline looms, and the cycle continues, reminding them that the cost of chasing their dreams is a lifetime of payments. The crisis isn't just financial, it's deeply personal, inflicting psychological trauma and destroying relationships. Every declined card, every unaffordable bill is a small cut that deepens the wound. Marriages strain under the weight of quiet despair, not explosive fights, but silent retreats. Public humiliation, like a declined grocery order, turns financial struggle into shame. People withdraw, hiding their struggles from friends and family, isolating themselves in fear and embarrassment. Chronic anxiety and depression become the norm as the future turns from hope to dread. When every effort is met with new setbacks, it's easy to lose hope. The emotional toll of this crisis will last long after the bills are paid. The old financial wisdom, save, avoid debt, invest, no longer fits today's reality. How can you save when every dollar is claimed by rent, groceries, and loans? Many now reject traditional advice, prioritizing experiences over unattainable futures. Buy now, pay later services fill the gap, and any extra money goes to moments of joy, not savings. This isn't irresponsibility, it's a rational response to a broken system. The problem isn't lattes or small luxuries, it's the unaffordable cost of necessities. In a world where the old rules don't work, people are forced to write their own. More Americans believe this crisis isn't accidental, it's by design. The system funnels wealth upward, leaving working families to fight over scraps. Corporations post record profits while raising prices. Banks get bailed out, students get lifelong debt. The anger isn't envy, it's the fury of people who played by the rules and still lost. The public is connecting the dots. This is a predatory economic model, not a series of unfortunate events. The social contract is shredded, trust is gone, and the belief that we're all in this together has vanished. The pain isn't random, it's a crisis engineered for profit. Americans are waking up to the reality that the system is working exactly as intended, for someone else. This isn't a forecast or a warning, it's happening now, in millions of homes. The American dream isn't fading. For many, it's already gone, replaced by a daily struggle to survive. The problem isn't the people, it's the system. Nurses, teachers, construction workers, students, parents, the backbone of the country are being broken by a system that no longer values their labor. To blame them is to ignore the impossible landscape they navigate every day. The consequences are everywhere. Rising anxiety, declining birth rates, growing polarization. When a society can't offer stability, it fractures. The economic crisis is now a social and spiritual one, eroding the bonds that hold us together. The quiet desperation has become a scream. We can't afford to ignore it any longer.